Welcome back to Real Talk, the show where we sit down with real investors, doing real deals, and talk about what's actually happening in the market. Today is actually a special episode. I'm joined by investor Austin, who's just 18 years old and is already out there closing deals, building systems, and also making big moves in the wholesaling game. So while most people are still figuring out what they want to do, he's actually out there doing it in real life. So we're going to be talking about what it's like to actually get started young, and also how exactly he's navigating the market, and also the tools and mindset that actually helped him gain the traction early on. So Austin, thank you so much for being here on the show with us today. If possible, can you give us a small introduction about yourself and
Of
what
course.
really inspired you to start investing in the real estate game?
First of all, I appreciate you guys, the whole team and you, Dion, having me on. Yeah, so just some background. My name is Austin. I've been in the real estate space for about a year and a half now, I would say. But I've been an entrepreneur for about 3 years, a little over 3 years now. So actually what got me into the whole real estate space, I started in dropshipping, was doing pretty well in that, met some connections, ended up taking a mentorship from a guy I met in e-commerce who got me into the whole wholesale game. And I never looked back. Took me a while to close my first deal, but after that, just learned the systems, kept scaling, and I have not looked back. I don't do much e-commerce anymore, so kind of went full scale mode into wholesaling.
That's great. That's amazing to hear. And if possible, could you share a little bit more about how you closed your first deal and the best thing, how did you feel after closing your first deal?
So mine's a little interesting. So it took me I started cold calling for my marketing channel when I first started. So it took a lot, and I had no sales experience. I didn't even know what square footage was. If you asked me what a basement was, I couldn't tell you what a crawl space was, a finished basement, but I had no idea what real estate was. So it took me about 5 to 6 months. I started in January. I think the first lead came into my system on January 18th, if I remember correctly. And then we closed that deal. It was actually, I think it was 3 days ago from today on the 11th. So it was, I think, June 9th or June 8th where we closed that first deal. Ended up being $2,000 after spending a lot more than that in marketing. So the first deal didn't feel too great. The second deal felt okay. It was about a $10,000 deal. That third deal was $48,000, and I was still 17 at the time. So really, to answer that question, the third deal was really the one where I was like, I had proof of concept from the $2,000 deal. And I was like, okay, I can really make money from doing this. And I got a property under contract, brought it to title, went through the whole process being so young. And then I was like, I could really take this to scale. And then, it was like 4 weeks later, then we had $48,000 into the wire from from the title company, which was absolutely amazing feeling. The proof of concept made me want to just keep going and keep grinding harder. So
Yeah, that's amazing to hear. Obviously, 48K, and that was such a young age. Obviously, that's one of the most best experiences ever. So, what markets are you currently working on, and how do you pick your current market right now?
So the markets we're working in, and I think this is very important. I think the market makes your business. So we originally started in Louisville, Kentucky. I was 17 years old. Basically realized I want to start making money. Some personal things happened in my life, and I realized I had to start making money at a young age. So I moved. I looked up the worst hoods in the United States. I swear I have it in my search history. I have a screenshot. Before I moved, and I saw the west end of Louisville, Kentucky pop up. A ton of boarded up houses, boarded up houses, boarded up houses. And then I told my mom, I said, I'm moving in January to Louisville, Kentucky. I was 17 years old. I got a place. It was like a 4-bed, 2-bath, started renting on my own. And I started driving for dollars. I started doing everything I could to get deals in Louisville because I knew it was a bad market. Mm-hmm. Bad as in the condition of the properties. It was not a high-end market. So I got my foot in the door really quickly. Ended up starting to do deals there very consistently. But I started to get more business mindseted, right? And started working on my business more than in my business. And I started to understand Louisville, Kentucky was not the best market. And a lot of deals were falling through. And on the business side, it was like, 1.5, it was basically half of our contracts would close, half of them would fall through. And that was a big problem for us that we saw. So we ended up going to a higher end market. And now we're basically fully moved over now. And we're only generating leads from Minnesota. So we're in St. Paul, we're in Minneapolis, we're in Rochester, Minnesota, Duluth, and a few other markets up there. But we chose that market and we hit it by storm because nobody else is doing it. Nobody else, you've never heard of Minneapolis. Nobody's wholesaling in Minneapolis. But then we also have boots on ground up there. So it makes it easier. We do in-person appointments. And then also, really what made me choose that market and what I want to touch on is what makes a good market for wholesaling is buyers. It's not sellers. So, and I think that's important for people to understand because you can find a deal in any market. You can find a deal in Miami and Brickell, and you can find a deal in Baton Rouge, right? I mean, it doesn't matter where the deal is. You can find a motivated seller, lock a deal up under contract. What really makes the spread is the buyer's end and the dispo end. And we've really dialed in on that to the point where we found a market where buyers are paying 0.9 minus repairs instead of 0.7 minus repairs. Now imagine how many more contracts we can generate, and imagine how much more revenue we can generate from just going to one market, because the buyers aren't used to seeing wholesalers. Yeah. They're like, who are you guys? What are you guys doing? And we come in there and we provide an immense amount of value, because these people are buying properties, investment properties on the market. And we're providing a different solution of off-market properties where they have to pay no commissions. They don't have to get into bidding wars and whatnot. So I think it's very important to strategically pick a market based off of the buyers and getting to know the buyers, getting to know the market times, right? For when you start doing flips, novations, and you start getting into those things, it's important to understand the market you're in. I don't think it's where you randomly throw a dart on a board and you start wholesaling there, because that's what I did. And I made a decent amount of money doing it, but it's not a long-term business model. That's just really a get-rich-quick scheme. You can make money anywhere, but to keep that revenue coming and coming every month, you need to pick the right market, in my opinion.
Yeah. And how were you able to identify the right market? Like, do you have any mentors able to guide you, or like, did you do your own research?
Honestly, I'm the type of guy to just figure it out by myself. That's really always how I've been. But with this one, it was an immense amount of research, right? And we had my family on my mom's side is from Minnesota. So it kind of popped up in our mind, right? I've never heard, you ask people where they wholesale. Oh, Ohio, Pennsylvania, New York, wherever, right? These main markets, Florida, Dallas, Texas, California. So I've never heard somebody say I've wholesaled from Minnesota. So I decided to start checking it out, joining all the Facebook groups, and my team just digging into it. And we found on Facebook the immense amount of buyers, but also we started to learn that the market was blowing up. The average market time in Minnesota right now is 14 days for a single family property. So these things are flying off the market. It's obviously supply and demand, right? And you look at that, and we also see on Facebook, realtors are posting their clients' needs because they can't even find properties on the market. So now I'm looking at that and I'm saying, I can connect the dots. I'm generating all these leads before they hit the market, and I can do that anywhere. Why not do that in a market where they need me instead of Texas or Florida, where there's 30 of these guys calling? Usually when I'm calling these people in Minnesota, I'm probably the third, fourth, fifth one to call. If I call a lead in Texas, they've been blown up. They've had a million lowball offers. So really the answer to that question, I guess, to put it in short form, is just research. And it's mostly Facebook to get a sense of what that market's doing. Is there a lot of groups for it? And there was a lot of groups for it. CREA was there, or RIA, excuse me. They're called MinRIA there. That was there. There was a bunch of factors showing us that there is investors in this market, but then we look in the Facebook groups for wholesalers, and there's rarely any. And even to look at the deals that the wholesalers are posting, right? Evaluating your market is very important, because we looked at that market. We said all of these wholesalers are locking these things up way too high. They're locking them up in the wrong zip codes. They don't know how to run numbers. So we can come in there, know how to run numbers, know what to lock these up for, make valuable connections with these investors, and just provide value. Because that's what wholesaling is. People look at it wrong. You're providing value to these investors. And if you find the right investors, they want you here. So I think if you're in the wholesale game feeling like you don't belong here and whatnot, you need to change markets. You need to change your circle, because you're a valuable tool. You're more valuable than those investors. You're more valuable than the title company. You're more valuable than anything, because you're the one finding these people deals. You're doing the negotiating, the hard work. You're handling the title work. You're literally these guys' minions to find deals, and you can make a lot of money doing it as well.
Totally understandable. And did you face any particular challenges? Because as a young investor, did you face any pushback from sellers or agents because of your age? Did you face any issues such as like those when you were venturing out in the market?
I definitely did at the beginning, because I didn't really know how to talk and present myself.
Yeah.
And especially in person, that was a really hard thing for me, because I went to Louisville to do this in person. I thought I would have a cutting edge, because I knew business and I knew you had to stand out in business. And I thought, how could I do that? And I thought I could just be in person. I could be that kid walking up to these houses, talking to these sellers, negotiating in person. And that's exactly what I did. And I don't think it was too much trouble. It's not as much as most people watching this would expect. So I'd say that's all the 16-year-olds, 7, 18, 19, 20, 21-year-olds. You can do this. It really doesn't matter. If you sound like you know what you're talking about, and you really do, and you trust yourself to sound like you know what you're talking about, they're not going to say anything. I mean, when anybody asks how old I am on the phone, I tell them 18 years old. I've never lied once. And it hasn't stopped me from closing deals. But then to add on to that, I mean, there's a lot of troubles with funding, building capital, raising capital, private money. It's hard to get people to trust you, right? I'm an 18-year-old kid who dropped out of high school. So to say that and to show that to lenders or to show that to a private money guy, there's not a lot of trust and rapport there. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, is figuring out how to build my credit, how to show that I am credible. So, because there's definitely a roadblock there for being young, trying to find lending, getting into the actual buying properties. We're looking at developing land. We're looking at all these bigger projects, and it's hard to put things in place being at a young age. But the wholesaling aspect, I think you can do this at 15 years old. If I knew about this when I was 15, I would have been making calls, man. And I mean that.
I mean, that's, but still, like, it's still amazing to hear, like, at such a young age, able to scale it to this level. It's still pretty impressive. Obviously, I know you use Closer Control basically for like finding leads as well as following with leads. Could you share a little bit more about your experience on the system? What exactly you like the best about Closer Control?
I love it. And I'm not just saying that either. So I'll give a little story on some background. So I met Connor I'd say about a month ago now. It was mid-May, and we were talking at a meetup in Louisville, Kentucky. This is before I moved to Florida, so I'm in Florida now. But met him, and he was telling me about his system. I was like, that's amazing, man. And I just switched over to a Podio, fully optimized Podio with AI and all of this, built out by a software developer. And it was really confusing. And that was only in December when I switched to that. So Connor was telling me the whole time, hey, man, wait till the end of the year to switch CRMs. Wait till the end of the year. It's going to be too confusing. And then he kept talking to me about what this CRM does. And I swear to you, I told him, I said, shut up, man. I'm sending you the wire and let me hop on there. And that's exactly what I did. And we got onboarded about 2 weeks ago fully. And I mean, it's nuts. It's absolutely nuts. My favorite things definitely are the AI taking notes for two reasons. It gives me more time freedom where I'm not stuck at a desk writing notes down or typing notes down. I could be taking calls at the beach, when I'm at the gym if a lead calls me, when I'm at the pool, when I'm at the beach. It doesn't matter anymore. I could take calls really wherever, and I don't feel like I'm missing anything. And I think that's really key. I mean, that was a big thing when I joined the CRM. And then obviously it's just the automations, man, the drips. I mean, I had drips in my old CRM, but they were all manual. So this being automated and having those drips constantly going and the leads just getting pushed, the best leads, getting pushed to where I need to call them. I mean, it's easily saving me 20, 30 hours a week. We've probably locked up 6 contracts in the time in 2.5 weeks that we've been on Closer Control. Just because these leads are resurfacing, but they're not just leads that are resurfacing, they're hot leads that are coming up, right? Because AI is qualifying them. They're telling me the price, and then I have my assistant go in there and just qualify all of them, run comps, and just throw me the best ones. So it's really helped me take away from doing mindless tasks. Right. In Podio, I was calling people every day. Hey, you guys ready to sell? Hey, you guys ready to sell? Hey, you guys ready to sell? 10 of them. And all I'm trying to get them to do is answer the phone. And they could tell me they're not ready to sell yet. And then I got to call them a month later and make sure, because I don't want anything to slip through the cracks. And I'm very good at follow-up, and I got really good at doing it manually, but I didn't realize how much time it was taking me. So that being said, the biggest thing for me was the amount of time saved with the automations. It's absurd. I mean, I don't have to call these mindless people anymore and just ask if they're ready to sell. The ones that are ready to sell get pushed to me, and then I can call them and make the close. So like Closer Control, and Connor was telling me, like, it's really for closers, and I appreciate that, because wholesaling is just sales and marketing. So it's like we had our marketing down to a science. The sales process wasn't, but I didn't realize how much a CRM could help. So short answer is that, I mean, Closer Control, seriously, I've referred so many people to it already. It's absolutely amazing because it's not as complicated. There's other CRMs that have more to offer, but you don't use all of it. And that's what I realized. This CRM, you use all of it, and you can take it to the potential that it gives you. And it's nuts. So it's simple, but it does what it needs to do. And it also gives you the ability to work with a cool team with Connor and his support team and whatnot. And really anything we've told him that we want in the CRM, he kind of customizes it for us. And he showed me other clients. And it's kind of cool to see all of his clients have a different type of CRM, right? And I've even referred him to a guy who does e-com. And Connor was like, yeah, I can build you out a CRM for e-com with the same type of automations and whatnot. So I think for people watching this, I think it's really cool. You could take it into any business model, and you can also customize it to your business model. Because my business model isn't the same as Connor's or somebody else's who's doing PPC or PPL, because we do mass data with cold call. So that's a completely different model. And I think that him being able to customize it and build it out to your liking adds an immense amount of value as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's great to hear. Like from obviously, I know like Closer Control, like it actually helps you in qualifying leads, so that like you don't have to waste time like calling them and just checking up with them. Like obviously, the like Closer Control's AI assistant actually takes care of the entire shebang for you guys. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Yeah, and like obviously, one of the questions which I want to ask is like, what advice would you be able to give to other young adults who are thinking about getting into the real estate space?
I have a lot of advice. I mean, I'm a talker, so I could talk for hours. But I mean, really, if I had to shorten it up and really think about it, I mean, my top advice would be to just do it. And especially if you're young, and you mentioned young investors, if you're a young person out there, I'm telling you right now, this wholesaling game and this real estate investing game is the best thing that you can get into at a young age. Because if you don't close a deal in a year or two, the knowledge that you're going to gain from trying will be useful for the rest of your life. And that's what I've noticed now. When I was in e-commerce, I could make money. I could have made just as much money as I'm making now, but I would have been I wouldn't have been fulfilled, right? First of all, I like talking to people. That's what I like to do. But second of all, real estate's going to set me up for the rest of my life. E-commerce, I was fulfilling orders. My whole garage was full of packed orders in my mom's house, right? Bringing them to the post office. I didn't want to do that, and I wouldn't have wanted to do that long term. Real estate sets you up to be able to hustle and wholesale and make your money. And then you already know how to bring the deals in, so you can start buying them, and you can live like a baller when you're my age, right? When you're 26, 27, 28, when I have 30, 50, 100, 200 properties under my belt that are paying me monthly without me hustling, making calls for wholesaling. And e-commerce can't set you up like that. Trading can't set you up like that. I mean, you need to sit on the charts at 9 a.m. every day when market opens, right? E-commerce, you need to fulfill your orders. And if you hire that out, you need to manage your team. Real estate is one thing that people say it's not passive, but when I look at it compared to every other business model, it's something that I can make passive, and that I know that I'm hustling right now and that I'm grinding, but it's going to actually turn into something long term. Yeah. And I think a lot of the get rich quick schemes out there right now on TikTok, Instagram that all these kids see, it's not like that. So I would really recommend, even if you don't close your deal, the market's getting competitive. I think everybody out there can still close a wholesale deal and do it consistently if you know the right people, have the right connections. But even if you don't, understanding how to generate a deal is valuable to any person of wealth, no matter if they invest in real estate or not. If you know how to find deals and know how to talk to people and have the sales skills, it's going to set you up on the right path for life. So I guess the answer to that is just jump in. I mean, my biggest advice is just, I didn't think about it twice. I didn't think, oh, I need to know how to talk to people on the phone. Oh, I need to know what square footage was. I just said, okay, this is real estate. And I'm 17 years old at the time. And it's an opportunity to get into real estate with no money, right? Obviously, I'm going to jump on that. And I think everybody else who's thinking about it shouldn't think twice, and they should just jump right into it.
You're totally right about that part. Obviously, like a lot of young investors out there, if you want to like get out or if you have some questions, I would say Austin is the best person you guys want to reach out. At the same time, if you're doing any deals or anything in like Minnesota, like Louisville, Kentucky, anything, you guys can reach out to Austin as well if you want to collab on certain deals. So with this, Austin, obviously, we are going to be like ending the show for today. Thank you so much for being a part of Real Talk with Closer Control, and hope you find a lot of amazing deals and a lot of success in the market. And we're going to be cheering you on as you grow and as well as you like explore to a whole new level. So thank you so much, guys. Yes, and thank you so much, Austin. With this, we're signing off, and we'll see you next week with new episode where we'll be sitting down with new investors and also talking about what's actually happening in the market as well. Thank you, guys.
I appreciate you guys for watching, man. If you need me, Austin Buys Home on Instagram. I'll answer any DMs, and I'll even give you guys my number. If you have any questions, I like to collab on deals. I like to help new investors out who are young. Even if you're old, I'll help you out. I'll answer questions. So shoot me a DM, and I appreciate you guys watching. And closer control for the win for sure.